and welcome to Spooks and Stitches, episode 7. My name is Sheena Carroll and I'm your host. I am an author and knitwear designer, and this is the knitting podcast with a slightly spooky twist. Well, this week we're a little bit short on the spooky. As you may have noticed, it has been a while since my last podcast. November has just been extremely busy. I started a new job on November 1st. NaNoWriMo started on November 1st. And I just haven't had time to sit down and podcast. I've tried about 3 times and it just wasn't coming out the way that I wanted it to. I wasn't able to put the time and energy into it, and it came out rushed. And I wasn't happy with the final product, so I didn't put it out. But so we're here today. It is Thanksgiving weekend here in the United States, so it's the last Sunday of November. I'm going hard on my NaNoWriMo project. I'm working on the book that is supposed to be my spring release, which is the second book in the A.J. Marshall series. And for me, NaNoWriMo isn't just like, you know, this fun challenge that you do. I mean, it is a fun challenge, but I actually work it into my production schedule every year. So it's like I need to hit this benchmark by the end of the month in order to meet my production goal for the release of this book. So my goal was, I'm calling it dreaditing. And that is when you simultaneously edit the existing words on an unfinished manuscript while trying to produce the final words to complete it. And my goal is to have 75,000 words at the finish. I am on par to hit that. I still need to do my writing for today, but unfortunately the book isn't going to be done at that point. So it's going to bleed into December, which I didn't want to do, but I wrote the first draft of this book during 2016. It was the November of the 2016 election. And this book deals a lot with eugenics and racism and sexism. And it was just a really, really hard book to write at that point in time. It is still difficult to write after the 4 years that followed it. And I very firmly believe that if you ignore history, you will be doomed to repeat it. And there are so many similarities between the late Victorian period and the things that we're discussing now, and the problems of the 19-teens and 1920s, and the things that we're discussing now. And it's just very emotional and difficult to put in the research that I want to on this, and the time and the care, knowing how badly wrong it all goes. So I've been putting most of my energy into that because I have to prioritize my deadlines, and I haven't had time to sit down and podcast. I have been doing a whole lot of knitting though. So you can see I finished up the sweater vest that I was working on. The last time I showed it to you, it was like right around the bust line. It was just a little bit below this V right here. And now it is completely done. I blocked it over the weekend and it came out really well. I am a little bit disappointed with the neckline, but I think a lot of that has to do with how low it is. And I had to do that to make the best use of the yarn that I had. The body part is a skein of Knitpicks Chroma fingering in the color Red Velvet, held double with a skein of Indigo Dragonfly Cariboubaa in the color Atrophy Wife. And I only had one skein of the Cariboubaa, so I had to make it lower cut than I really wanted to, just to eke out as much from that skein as I could. And I would have liked it, I have very narrow shoulders, so I would have liked it if it came in just a little bit, like raise that neckline maybe an inch. And I was going to do more ribbing, but I didn't go quite low enough in the back, so I didn't want to have it rubbing up against my neck. Anyway, Should have inserted some footage here so you have seen it in the 360 view with me wearing it. The other major finished object that I have is the pumpkin crumbs sweater, which I made for Ash. I didn't quite make it for her birthday, but it was ready for when we went out for lunch with her parents on Sunday. And it's got some vintage buttons down the front. I followed pretty much the pattern except for the arm side. I did make that a few changes there just to make that slope a little bit more gentle. And then I changed the sleeve head just a bit. But it came out really well. I am definitely going to be knitting another Andi Satterlund pattern at some point, because after going through the construction and everything on that sweater, I'm just kind of convinced that she's a genius and the best sweater designer out there. I already had like 6 or 7 of her patterns in my queue, but I definitely want to go back and make more of them now. And next time, they will be for me. Just checking my notes. I've got my laptop down here. So in addition to the projects that I finished, oh, I also finished the copy editor socks. Let me go grab one of those. I knew I was forgetting something. Okay. So this is the second sock of the pair, and it's like red toned black. There's burgundy in it, a little bit of like a purpley blue. So these are going to the copy editor for my last book, Colors in the Dark. And as soon as I get up the courage to brave the post office this time of year, they will be winging their way to Scotland, because unfortunately you can't just print a label at home and fill out a customs form at home. You have to do it at the post office. I don't like any of our local post offices. They all kind of suck. And they have to do it at Christmas. I have this rule about not going to the mall or the post office between Thanksgiving and New Year's if I can manage it. This year I can't manage it, unfortunately. But anyway, so in addition to finishing all of that stuff, I just have been super busy in the last month. You might also know that Animal Crossing had a major update, which I was prepping for. And I had 2 accounts on my Switch, and I was just like, I really don't need 2 houses. I'm not using the secondary account. I'm just going to delete it. I accidentally deleted everything, my entire island. So I had to start over. So that's going well. It actually is. Ash also plays Animal Crossing. She has her own console now. It used to be that I was the only one with a Switch. That was why I had 2 accounts, one for each of us. And then she ended up getting a Switch Lite, so we can play back and forth and give each other stuff. So she's been giving me a whole bunch of items to help me get my island set back up again. But yeah, be very careful what directions you Google when it comes to Animal Crossing, because some of them are a little unclear. So after I finished up all of those things, we went out one day and I realized that even though most of my fall and winter wardrobe is red and black, I did not have any red and black hats. Like, who am I? I knit so many hats. How can I not have one that is red and black? All of them are blue or purple, which is my summer wardrobe colors, which doesn't make sense. But, I'm drawn to what I'm drawn to. So I decided this is a pattern that I'm writing up as I go. It's just a buffalo plaid. These are the floats on the inside. I'm really happy with how it's coming out. And then I did the corrugated ribbing because corrugated ribbing makes me so happy for absolutely no reason I can identify. If you know me, you know that I adore buffalo plaid, specifically the red and black and the black and white. But I have so so much buffalo plaid stuff, and you usually don't see it on screen, but like scarves, I've got a blanket, I get lots of stuff that's printed with this color or with this pattern. I have a sweater with this pattern. So I'm almost done with this. I think I have, okay, I need to do 3 more stripes or 3 more of these blocks, because fun fact for those of you who did not go to art school, so your hand is the same size as your face. This also works as a measurement when you're making a hat. So if you go from here to your crown, then you have your brim below here, and then you start your crown decreases up here, and voila, you have a hat that fits. So that's a really cool recipe if you're self-drafting a pattern. So I'm working on that. It's about halfway done. I'm hoping to get it finished by Tuesday so that I can turn it in for a knitting game that I play. I play the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup. Not a supporter of the author. The author is dead as far as I'm concerned, but I have a lot of really good friends in this group, and I've been playing since, I don't even know, 2014 maybe. So I've known the people there for a really long time. This time I'm playing in Hufflepuff. I normally play as a Ravenclaw, but I'm trying to get that turned in before our term ends on the last day of November. So that's one of the main projects that I'm working on right now. I also started a project that is sort of a Christmas present, not really. When we moved into this apartment, it was hellish. Our movers bailed on us. We got overcharged by the moving company and by U-Hauls. Like, all of our money was tied up with them. We were waiting on refunds that hadn't gone through. So we didn't have money to hire new people. And it was just an absolute disaster. And we had some friends who very kindly came out and helped us. They were there until midnight one night, helping us do all of this. So I told them they basically have sweaters for life. I mean, they had knitwear for life anyway, but I have upgraded them to sweaters. So anytime they want to ask me for a sweater, I will make it for them. So one of them is, he is a huge like military history buff, and he requested one of the World War I sleeveless sweaters from the Red Cross knitting books. I think it's like Priscilla's Handwork, something like that. I downloaded a PDF copy of it. I'm going to insert a picture from the Center for Knit and Crochet, which was where I was able to track down the link to archive.org. And I haven't gotten very far. It's just ribbing, like half the ribbing, but it's so simple because you do 4 inches of ribbing, and then it's like 27 inches of body, and then you make a neck hole, another 27 inches of body, 4 inches of ribbing, and then you fold it in half and sew it. So it's super easy. All of the World War I patterns were made to be super easy to follow for people who didn't have a lot of knitting experience. So I'm working on that. This is, one moment, Twill. Knitpicks Twill, and the color is Fiddlehead. I got 300 gram skeins just as an estimate. And because I forgot to mention it with the hat, I'm just using Swish worsted in the colors Serrano for the red and black for the black. So those are the 2 major projects I'm working on. I am still working on the flamingo blanket, just kind of here and there. The couch ate my crochet hook for about a week, and it took me a while to find it again, but got it back. Starting to work on that again. And I think that's it for knitting and crochet content. Now, this week, this this month. Like I said, I just have not had a lot of time. I haven't been able to search, read, and edit a ghost story for this month because I like to, just Google them, but I also have to read through them, make sure that it's, a good story, that it's not going to be anything like super triggering or something super gory or anything like that, because I'm not into that kind of ghost story. And then sometimes I have to edit it down for time because I know about how many pages a 15-minute reading is. Sometimes I have to trim them down, and I don't like doing that, but that's sometimes a thing that has to happen. It makes more sense than recording a second video for the story. And this time I just didn't have time to do that. The most time-consuming part of doing the podcast is filming the B-roll and then recording the story and then editing the story and then mashing the two together so I can attach it to the podcast. So that's the most time-consuming part. So for a while, I'm probably going to skip doing the readings at the end of the episode, just until I get a better handle on my schedule and things slow down a little bit. I will try to put out a ghost story like in between podcasts, and I might alternate and do a monthly podcast instead of bi-weekly, and then on the off week I'll do a ghost story. But I just haven't had time to go through that. And I can't really think of anything else to say. And I think I'm going to go ahead and leave off the sponsorship moment and the shout out for this week. Just I'm out of practice, guys. I was never super great at this to begin with, and then I took a break, and I just realized I never turned on my twinkle lights behind me. And I don't want to re-record everything just so I can have the lights, even though that's why I moved my chair over here. It's quite windy out today, so I didn't want to sit in my normal place and have all that wind noise. But I need to get back in the swing of things. I'm sorry. I didn't want to take so long in between episodes, but that's just kind of the way things happened. I do have one other thing to show you, though. So I think we all know by now that I am a Knitpicks stan. And not sponsored. Would love to be sponsored, but not sponsored. I went ahead and placed a tiny order with their November sale. I didn't need yarn. I know. Take a deep breath, sit down. It's fine. I didn't need yarn. But they had some stuff I'd been looking at that was pretty deeply discounted. So I got these cute little stickers for my planner because I love my happy planner and bullet journaling, and stickers make me happy, and I've been giving myself a gold star as a motivator for every day that I hit my NaNoWriMo word count goal. So got these, and then I also picked up, it's actually out in the kitchen right now, they have these color books, kind of like the paint chip books that you find at the hardware store, or you can get them from Pantone, but they're super expensive normally. I mean, I've seen them up to like $125, and we don't use them that much, but we have been redecorating a little bit, and Ash does my covers, so I thought, it would be great if we had a resource for color listings so that we can decide, okay, the color for this series is this specific shade of purple or this specific shade of red. So it has RGB, hex colors, and CMYK. So that way you know exactly what color you're getting on the screen. If you go to have something printed, you can tell the printer what CMYK color you need them to mix. So that is part of my order. That was the main thing that I ordered. And then because I wanted to get free shipping, I also got the stickers, which were like $2 for the sticker sheet. And then I got a skein of sock yarn, which this is Stroll. It's the fingering weight, and the colorway is called Sangria, which it's like reds and browns, and it kind of looks like a chocolate cherry. So got that because I can never have enough sock yarn, and I am a Stroll addict. And then, much to my surprise, I also got a free gift. So I got this little crochet hook. It has a nice ergonomic grip on it. I think this might actually be the same size that I'm using for the flamingo blanket, so I might just switch over to using this instead because the couch is less likely to eat it. And I think that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to say hello before I turned off the camera. This is Bastet Ramses the Fluffy. He is the Prince of Furs and the Pharaoh of Roof, King of Cube. And he has very little patience for my nonsense right now. But I hope that wherever you are, that you are safe and healthy, and that you have something cute and cuddly to snuggle with. And we will see you next time.